A lot of sad dentists. So I'm a pre-dental student who is currently applying to dental schools, and I have been dedicated to the field since high school. Recently, I've been reading posts from dentists on Reddit who hate their lives and regret their decisions because even far into practicing, the procedures are challenging and stressful. And I have been a dental assistant and enjoyed my job overall. However, the office was disorganized and the management was bad, which caused additional stress. It also seemed like the dentists were stressed. Is this overwhelming stress common in dentistry? Is there no point in time where the job starts to become enjoyable? I just want to hear from some dentists who may have had doubts about becoming dentists but are happy and content now, if this sort of dentist even exists. Okay, this is very, very common. I actually think that this student has done what a lot of students don't do, which is to go out into the real world and get enough real world experience in a dental practice and understand what the life is like. Okay. Now, obviously, I'm a UK dentist. I don't have any experience of dentistry in America, but from similar readings, similar experiences, I have heard that there are a lot of very poorly run practices in America. There are also many poorly run dental practices in the UK. And this is not a rare issue. You need to understand that this is most definitely one of the stresses that you will deal with as a dentist. Now, if you are a student who wants to do dentistry, or you're a young dentist who's experiencing these stresses, you need to understand that, yes, a huge amount of these things are common in the industry, but they don't have to be your entire life. The time when I enjoyed dentistry the most was when I was working at a practice that was well run. I was working in the surgery right next door to one of my best friends. It was an incredible experience. That entire year was the best time of dentistry that I ever had. So it's up to you to find a practice, get enough competency, build your CV to the level where you can get a job at a good practice. And later on, when I really started to enjoy dentistry, was when I started to get to the point where I didn't really need to do dentistry for income. I was investing aggressively, I was becoming work optional, and I was working maybe 2-3 days a week. And that was when I actually really enjoyed dentistry, because I wasn't dealing with the regular stresses that plague general dentists when they're working 5-6 days a week. They're working back-to-back horrible hours. They're working so much that they don't have time to mentally recover from their clinical work, and they don't have time to recover physically from constant craning over of treatment. But when you're working 2-3 days a week, you actually have time to mentally recover from work, because you've got more days to recover than you're actually doing clinical dentistry. And that was when I really, really started to enjoy dentistry. I felt like I had the mental space to focus on my patients and give them the best piece of me that they deserved as a patient. And I definitely feel that they got the best quality dentistry at that time. But obviously, that requires dentists to be proactive, to do what I was doing, which was working hard, but also investing aggressively to build that financial safety net that you have there. And once you have that financial safety net, it just gives you so much more mental clarity and mental space that you're not focused and worried about your paycheck at the end of the month. And you're able to focus on your patients because you know that you maybe have another source of income, or you have this investment portfolio that you can actually rely on in the worst case scenario. So while on one hand, the overwhelming stress that this student has experienced at these practices, it is common. I'm not going to lie to you. But it's up to you to make your reality one that you don't have to escape from. I would say for the first 2 to 5 years maybe of most dentists' career, it's going to be like this. But you have to work hard and build that competency and build your CV, build your photographic portfolio so that you can find the jobs that are not like this, that are really well-run practices where you're going to be supported, where you're going to see good patients, where you're not going to feel like you need to escape from the practice on Friday night for 2 days before you can slightly recover and then you've got to go back to work on Monday. That's up to you. And there are most definitely well-run practices out there. And for those more experienced associates who are making the transition to own a practice, I would say to you, leave your ego at the door, please. Become the kind of practice owner, business owner who takes care of their associates. Yes, it's going to cost a little bit more. Yes, it's going to be a little bit more stressful. But if you can build a practice like that, I'm telling you, You will build a much more supportive environment of your entire dental team. The positive energy is going to be so much more powerful and palpable for your patients that it's going to eventually result in much, much higher turnover. It might take a little bit longer for you to reach that level of profit, but I'm telling you, you will develop a much better practice that will get better reviews and build a better reputation overall compared to those crappy practices, those principals who abuse their associates and their staff, who just chase profits and margins. Yes, they might break even a little bit quicker, but they're going to have high turnover of nurses, of managers, of dentist associates. And that's not the life that you want. So, while on one hand, it is absolutely possible to develop a career that you enjoy, that's not overly stressful, a kind of lifestyle that is enjoyable, that is sustainable long term, I would say, to be honest, there are a small percentage of people that never get used to the lifestyle. And you need to do enough work experience to understand what the lifestyle is of a dentist in the country that you're going to potentially work in. And the last thing that I would say to you is there's, yes, a lot of forums online where you're going to hear dentists talking about all the problems in their life, all of the mental stresses that they have to deal with. These are real stresses that you have to deal with as a dentist. Yes, there are avenues to reduce that stress. The one that I propose to my clients is investing, because it builds an amazing investment portfolio. But please try not to read these forums too much, because unless you're reading them in order to improve, in order to learn from the mistakes of other dentists, it's just going to make you depressed. It's just going to cause you more anxiety. It's not going to improve your mental health reading all of these horror stories from other dentists. That's all from me today. The best way to support us completely for free is like, comment on this post, subscribe to us so that we can get more amazing guests for our podcast and so I can produce more of these really valuable videos for you guys. Assalamu alaikum. I'll speak to you soon.